Morning, morning, monsters. How are you all doing this morning? Right. So, exciting news. I'm sure you saw we announced the streamer schedule, and yours truly is on a Wednesday slot, so tomorrow we'll be having some guests. But for now, let us continue on with our ball and peg game. Where we were with this is we were exploring the one frame bug that we were having over here. So the technique we're using to move to the out of ammo phase, to show that here, is glitching by allowing you to immediately reshoot. And we're like, well, why is that? And it turns out it is because of a one frame bug. So what happens is this state becomes active, right? Now, normally what we're relying on is this trigger zone is sensing anything with a ball tag, and if there is an active ball in the scene, it'll turn this NOT gate off, and it'll stop you advancing to the next phase. However, there is a problem with this in that the NOT gate will come active on frame 0 when this gets activated, and that signal will be hot. And then the next frame, in frame 1, the trigger zone will have evaluated and turned that to 0. But by that time, a hot signal's already gone out, and the state has already transitioned out of the out of ammo state. So there's a few ways we can solve this. One frame bugs are fairly common with gadgets because you'll have some gadgets that take more than the current frame to evaluate. So it's not an uncommon thing. In this case, I think the simple way, and also the way that's going to be a little bit more fault tolerant, is we're going to put in a timer, and we're going to say whenever we sense a ball, reset the timer. Whenever we've don't sense a ball, set the timer to start, and when the timer finishes, pulse it so that it actually gets a signal. And just do that because I like to have a bit of leeway. Right, and let's say that the timer is going to have 0.1 because we don't need it to be very long, but that should be long enough. So it'll feel instantaneous or near instantaneous, but it should fix our bug. And there we go, our bug is now fixed, so we don't spam the balls. Right, so with that, we have that bug fixed. We've now also got the bug where the points aren't counting up. So we see the points at the top right there, they're not counting up. Now, how the point system should be working is on the brick logic here. Let's just unhide that. There we go. Oh, wow. Sorry, I'm just following this through. Can we... there we go. That timeline... Is that timeline shared? No, there we go. Okay, great. That's just that sound being played there. I can't remember why I did that. For now, though, I'm going to just... move that timeline onto there. That should actually simplify it quite a bit, and we won't have that weird ghosting. We're going to have to actually make these changes inside the brick and then propagate them across the scene, so we don't just have the one object. We're going to just do a quick bit of reorganization. But first, before I do that, I want to debug the problem in scene, because I feel like too often we've been working out of scene. I'm also going to just quickly change the color of this one ever so slightly so we know that it's the one that we're debugging, and we'll work from there. Right, so when this gets an impact sensor, I did want to tweak this logic slightly actually. Let's just rename the sound to hit sound. We can also change that to sort of hit effect, This timeline, what is this timeline controlling? We need to name these up because light stuff up keyframe, ball respawn keyframe. Oh, we're going to change all of this logic to do with the ball respawn and clear stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to make it work more seamlessly on that stuff. Right. Okay. So let's see where the so there's the score, there's the node. Who's meant to be? Excuse me. Something is meant to be affecting this NOT gate and is not affecting this NOT gate. That's interesting. Oh wait, there it is. It's just the wire is really, really thin. Let's just change the color of this so we can see the wire a bit more easy. So when this, on end of that, then, okay. Now that I look at this, I just kind of want to rewire the whole bloody thing, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is, let's turn off the hide here. In the shooter state logic, on the, not the out of ammo one, in the ready to shoot, we are going to have a transmitter that, because normally we could do the tag sensor, but now the tag method is really nice if tag sensing, actually how expensive is tag sensing now I'm thinking about it? I don't think it's actually that expensive. Yeah, let's do that. Ready to shoot. Okay, so ready to shoot. Let's change this over to the tag sensor method. If it's super expensive, we can rejig it later. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move that there, and I'm going to edit the source, and we're going to go into here, and we're going to make this use the tag method, and we're going to just do some general cleanup of the brick, shall we say. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my creations. I'm going to grab the ball and peg ball. Here we go. Now this should have, oh it doesn't, that's interesting. I thought I had put a ball tag on that. Well, we're going to have to put a ball tag on it in the actual, well, you know what, actually let's go edit source, save. We'll come back to that in a sec. We'll put a ball tag on the ball, so it's there. Tag. And just rename that to ball. Okay, so now the ball tag has a tag on it, so we can sense the balls more cheaply and easily rather than doing name scans, because more stuff is in the tag stuff. Okay, so we save that out. Yeah, you see, I'm really torn by just using a wireless sensor. This is what I mean is, in Dreams, there's so many different ways you can solve a problem, that the way you solve it is going to be sort of need to, in this case, I'm going to, you know what, I actually really like the ball respawn thing. I think we just need to rejig the logic a bit. Okay, we're going to use ball respawn because that's just easier for us. And then let's get a selector in, because I'm just liking the robustness of the selector, because a lot of the other stuff I use because it's flexible, it's kooky, it's easy to add organic state into it. But at the moment I'm just like, I want a really dumb, robust way of solving all of this. So I'm going to go with dumb and robust. The good news is we do need... Okay, so this, if you remember, was a way we solved the other timer glitch we had, which is we used a timeline, similar technique to the counter trick that we did elsewhere, but I realize as I say that it's not gonna work very well, because that has to go into there, that has to go into there. Okay, right. That should work. So this is going to transmit the brick dead, and when this gate becomes active, i.e. it has transmitted, the destroyer is going to kick in. All happy with that. And that is the death state. Okay, so let's assume that we're in the A state. If we're in the A state, then we're working on a ball and peg game. If you haven't been following along, the series is on YouTube, where we've been going through all the various steps. So in this state here, we are going to have the ball sensor and the counter and all that logic. And that logic is basically to say, why is that? Yeah, that is the position of the hit, which we want to set and store. We want to set it locally and store it locally. Unfortunately, we don't have okay. Speaking of which, just as I look through this, this is the hit sound, right? We know this is the hit sound. So this hit sound should almost certainly be on this board here. Yes. Yes, that hit sound's on there. The variable modifier, that is for the pitch shift. We really should name that to shift up the sound, so we know what that does. And that is the hit sound. You just sort of save yourself trouble later. And this is the current pitch modifier. Okay, so that's that there, and that's the spark hit. Right, and that's the node. I just realized that this might have a frame of problems. Well, actually it won't anymore, not if we make this come into that. We won't need this counter anymore, because the logic behind this will disable the moment it comes through. So where's that coming into? That's coming into there. Okay, cool. So when that comes through, we know that we have been hit. And so now we're in the lit up state. In the lit up state, we are basically waiting for the ball respawn signal to come through. Now there's the timeout logic that we've got implemented in here, but I'm going to just say screw the timeout logic for now. Keep it really simple. What is this keyframe affecting? This keyframe is affecting some stuff. Oh, this keyframe jumps this to the end. That was it. That was it. Right. So that is only powered on in this state. That keyframe jumps that to the end. Okay, so jump to end of life. So that's all there. And then this is part of the scoring behavior, and that gets fired. So when this, oh dear, when this ends, we want it to go to state C. And when it's gone to state C, we want to turn on another microchip, which is score, report, and die. And if you're wondering why this is reporting its score and we don't just have a score modifier that adds on to the score, it's because of all of the combo logic. Though now that I say that, there is a cleaner way of doing this. I just realized, no, we're going to keep it this way because this way is more flexible for different colored pins and different scoring pins. So that is the hit sound there. This is going to be the score, report, and die logic. And that all goes onto there. Let's put the score on there as well, actually, make it simple. And that goes into there. So we've done quite an intensive rewiring of all of this. Just keep that down there. I'm just trying to separate out. The hit sound has to stay active because we don't want that microchip to go inactive, because if it does, then it'll if it goes inactive, it'll words, if it goes inactive, it will stop playing sound. There we go. That's the thing. Do you know what? Actually, the way we had it set up before with the ball respawn actually works pretty cleanly, so I'm going to leave it on there. It's one less wire. I'm happy with that. I like how I've done that. Gadget Sack, thanks for joining us on the channel here. As I say, this is a morning show. We do 8:30 every morning on weekdays. We are trying to finish up the ball and peg series though, and that's why I'm sort of in intense debugging, removing all of our obstacles at the moment, and guessing on to the next thing. Right. Hit sound. Okay, I believe that is all of the problems with that solved. Save. Now, normally, I would just update using the update tool. I'm going to do that, but what you're going to see when I do that is you're going to see some problems, because like this one here where I've been modifying the logic, if you do big logic reworks, where's that logic gone? Yeah, if you do big logic reworks, don't be surprised if the logic breaks on the update tool, because if you've made local changes in scene, it can be quite easy to get it all a bit kerfuffled, shall we say. So let's just get search recent break. There we go. There is the new version of the break. We'll just pop that in there. We'll do some layout. It's not a huge drama because we've got we haven't done sort of the level layout or design. Once we do, we'll be a bit more specific about how we handle these. Just pop some bricks around in interesting shapes. There we go. And now let us play the logic and see if the points are going through. Okay, we killed the no, we didn't kill the respawn. Okay, so you see the points there are now correctly adding up. Okay. The bull respawn thing needs work, and for that, I'm just going to double check that it's still in here. It's on this timeline, and the logic is called bull respawn. So all we need to do is in this one here, we just need to send out a wireless signal, wireless transmitter, and it just needs to be called bull respawn. Okay. That now should mean that when we go into the ready to shoot state, we will have the pegs clear instantly. Huh, they didn't clear instantly. That's interesting. Is it because I'm trying to remember what the tag output is actually while I'm here. Just redo this. If you're ever curious about a fat wire, just grab a splitter, shove it in, and just remind yourself what comes out of here. It's a player value wire. Gotcha. Gotcha. I'm just using it as a positive signal. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Ah, that doesn't actually count as a live signal. Very good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our good old friend, the NOT gate, as a positive signal, because a NOT gate is just one of the cheapest ways to get a live signal out of something. And now you see it's black. That means it is active. It'll actually show... Ball respawn definitely fired there, because you can see I know what's going on. So in our brick logic, now remember this time we didn't edit it because we were good. We were very good. In our brick respawn logic here, this is now getting a constant signal. And when it gets a constant signal, it's gonna just hold the timeline at the position we've animated it to, right? It'll just keep it frozen there. So what we need to do is we just need to get a signal manipulator in there, and we just need to change it to pulse on input so that it doesn't saturate the signal. And we just grab that wire, pop it through there, pop it in there, and that should solve that problem. The brick has been updated for us. Okay, the 100 points is incorrect. That's interesting. That means our queue with the exclusive gate is not working correctly. Okay, in which case I'm going to switch over strategies to another strategy I had, which is instead of using the exclusive gate, and I could debug the exclusive gate and figure out why it's dying before it's able to transmit, because it shouldn't be able to die before it's transmit, and it's probably to do with the one frame bug, and we could spend some time tracking that down. But I'm going to say sod it because we want to keep on moving. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify this because I don't need the more complicated logic just yet. When I need the more complicated logic, I'll figure out a way to do it. So what we are just going to do here is we are going to so you see how at the moment it does this sort of death behavior. You need to stretch that out there, stretch that out there, stretch that out there. Got to remind myself what each of these lights, the light up stuff keyframe. And as I say, what we're doing here is we're just reminding ourselves what does what. That is animating color saturation and light emission. Fair enough. That is animating collision. Okay, so it's not collidable during that phase. And that is animating it goes invisible. Right, that's all good. So what we are going to do here is we are just going to get score modifier. Not a score modifier, a variable modifier. Sunny Claire. I always get confused where we store the bloody things. Score modifier is there, but variable modifier, which is the exact same bloody gadget with a slight tweak. Where have we shoved it these days? I always get confused where we put these things. Score modifier. It's definitely not in there. I thought it was in movers and outputs. Am I just not seeing it? Health manager, health modifier. No, did we put it in logic? Oh, we put it in logic, of course. That makes sense, actually. That does make sense. Right. So, yeah, to explain the old logic that we were going to do, the reason why we did it this way is because we could transmit different score based on whatever you had on the brick, right? So in this case, it's 100. And then we passed that into, I can't remember why we passed it into Node. I think previously we were filtering it. Anyway, we were passing that through the node and we were putting this into an exclusive gate. The exclusive gate is named and it is put onto queue mode, which means that every signal will be delivered in the order it arrives, first in, first out queue, ignoring priority. Well, not ignoring priority, but I mean, if things are in the same priority, it'll be a first in, first out queue. And then when the gate is active, it'll trigger the destroyer, and then the destroyer will it'll send through the brick dead signal. The problem we have here is probably to do with the one frame transmission glitch, where the signal dies before it gets spawned. But it's always tricky because you don't want it to spawn for two signals because, you know, it's a thing. It is a thing. So in this case, what we are going to do is we are literally going to change this to 1. Okay, and we're going to do that, and we're going to make this an addition so they don't clash, and brick dead. Okay, and when powered on, it'll send, and it'll only send once. Well, actually, we don't even need to do that. We can just set in the operation value. I forgot about that. There we go. And that can come through there. And then when this whole timeline is done, instead of going to, well, you can go to the next phase. We'll just keep it simple. And when you go to the next phase, just kill yourself. It's grim and it's dark, but just kill yourself. So remind ourselves the variable modifier is called brick dead. We'll jump back to the scene. Okay, so now in our combo counter, instead of going off brick dead the transmission, we are going to have to go off brick dead the variable. So gadgets, it's under logic. And what we're effectively going to do here is a gadget-based while loop. So the gadget-based while loop, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a variable here. We don't need the, well, okay, we do need that node, but that node's going to be slightly different. That node basically signals that something's come through, which is kind of handy because it just gives us a rewire point at this point. But now it's going to be an internal node with no port. Right. So if we rename this variable to brick dead, we know this variable is going to be increased whenever whenever a thing comes through for it. Okay. Actually, we could. Okay, no, I'm gonna keep it simple for now. I'm gonna keep it super simple for now. In logic isn't anything to be hated. It's just something you work through step by step, break it down into smaller problems. The problem people usually have with logic is the same problem people have with math, is they try solve the whole thing in their head rather than just breaking it out and figuring out the smaller steps. It's totally fine to figure out the smaller steps. You're looking at someone who can, even though I can do advanced calculus and stuff, when I sit down for like basic additional multiplication, I get confused and frustrated and my brain hurts because my brain's not very good at mental math. So, you know, it's there. Right, so what we are going to do here is we are going to grab the calculator and we're going to say very simply, if this is greater than 0, right, if this is greater than 0, then we are going to want to decrease it by variable modifier. We're going to want to decrease it by 1. Brick dead. And let's just double check that brick dead had a space in here, because I'm not 100% sure if we put a space or not a space. Pin that to screen so it's visible. We go into timeline. Push the pin to screen there. There we go. And where is? I am not seeing. Hold on. Tools. There we go. Date now. Now I'm seeing it. And it's done brick dead without a space. Okay, so there's a classic kind of frustration point we could have gotten into. So we did brick dead without a space. Okay. So that comes in here. Right. -1, right, get, it's an addition operation. Right, so what we are going to do here is we are going to say, if that's the case, then come through here and do a subtraction operator. I'm just gonna come through because we're running a bit short on space, and then we're going to say whenever that this is decreased, fire off this whole bit of logic here. So now this bit of logic here, I'm just gonna get rid of that. There we go. This is a timer. This is multiplied by that. that's increasing the combo counter. That's the combo counter down counting. So this is the bit that we need to make a modulate. And by default, it's going to modulate a value of 100. Now I just need to remind myself if that is going to come out. So what this basically does is it means when you hit multiple bricks in quick succession, it increases the combo counter, which is a bit OP at the moment, but whatever. And the combo counter slowly gets reduced every time the timer ticks down. So you've got a tick through process on that. Right. So now what should happen, it might not work, but let's check. Didn't work. That's fine. All we want to do is we want to debug this one step at a time. First thing we're going to do is we're going to grab number output, and we're going to get a current value, and it's on screen there. So now we can see the value of the current score brick dead number. So if that goes up, it went up, but now it's not going down. That's interesting. So the current value here is 6. We know it's 6. 6 is greater than 0. So why isn't this coming through to here? Another way we can do this is we can just get another variable modifier, just shove that, another display thing, shove that in there. Okay, it is definitely sending a signal of 1. I don't know why that's not right. Continuously well powered. So what we need to do that is we need to actually change that from that port to that port. Make it reduce 1 each time. So that comes through there. And then that'll reduce the number every frame. And the score will go up. But the interesting thing that happened there, did you see it? Was the number stuck to 100. And that, I believe, oh, there we go. That was because this score modifier needs to be continuous while powered. Turn that off. And so basically if anything comes through on this line, the score should just increase. Right, that actually may have been the source of our that may have been the source of our exclusive gate system not working. So our exclusive gate system was probably duck. Our exclusive gate system was probably working, and we were just hitting issues with the score thing. So there's a good example of the problem was totally not where we thought it was. We thought it was, now make sure we save a version. I'm going to just save that as private. There we go. Just so it's all on the server. So if my PS4 dies or blows up or anything like that, I won't lose the work. Okay. Save through there. And the score goes up. And I'll have to sort of expose the point modifier. Oh, we had a little bit of a glitch there. Next time I might show you how to implement the lock axis on the balls, just so we don't get any of those issues. At the moment we're relying on an invisible wall, which is pretty good, but it does rely that our brick placement's okay. I like the invisible wall scenario because it adds a bit of depth, so we might just fix up our brick placement. But that's all good. That's fun. And we are making progress on this, and it's all going forward in a spiffy way. So for those of you on YouTube, this is a morning show we do live. Come join us on YouTube, 8:30 every morning. You can jump into the chat. It's very lively. Or at least it is very lively today. And yeah, so I will see you tomorrow at YouTube. For now, we're just going to have a little private chat with our Twitch crowd. So bye-bye for now.